Let's see the quick demo of all app in one place in Aspire. So here my React app, this is my Angular app, this is my Vue app, and this is my MVC app, and this is my Blazor app. Also Blazor have integrate your Azure function, and also Azure function integrate with this blob and Azure Queue and all that app actually also integrate with your API service. So everything actually is built over here, and we can see the quick grab. Like, see, this is API service which can use this all this app. Like, this is front end React app, this is MVC app, and you can see over here this is our Blazor app, and Blazor app also use function, Azure function, and Azure function also integrate with this queue and blob, and it is just hosted on this place. And also this API app service using this front end Angular app, and also API service integrate with the DB, right? And so on, so right, as you can see this many app, all these app actually. So that actually I just build over here, so that I want to show you how we can just build it. And we can see over here, like, see, this is that storage. So basically this is that all the storage, Azure function storage. And then we have just built our front end. This is our React app, and this is my Angular app which is running, and also which is Vue app over here, which is also integrated in our API service. And this is our API service which is integrate all this app. And this is Azure function which will help to reduce your size of your image size. And this is MVC app, and this is our Blazor web app, and this is DB. So this is actually our DB over here. So yeah, let's see how actually working this all that app in here. So first let me open one by one all these apps. So I just opened it over here. This is my React app. So let me add functionality which is integrate our API. So let me add React app, right? So once you add, now I will to see the React app, the data. Same things if I go to the Angular, if I just refresh, so you are able to see that data because this is coming from API. And if I put some Angular, suppose this Angular to-do list, if I add that Angular, so I can see that Angular data which I can see in the Vue app also. Let me just refresh. So once you refresh, I am able to see the data. Even there's a also functionality over here. If I just move up and down, so I can just up and down. Even I can just complete this task also, we can complete it. Same things I can check it over here in the MVC app. See, whatever task I just completed, that is just completed, and also reorder again. And even I just add MVC because this is a MVC. So MVC, let me add this. Yeah, it is there. And then finally if I'm moving to our Blazor application, so if I go to the to-do list, so I can see that all that over here, I can add that Blazor over here. Just add that Blazor. Also I want to reassign to rearrange this order, so I can rearrange. And it have also actually integrate Blazor application integrate that Azure function which can use that blob and storage. So let me try to reduce our image size, so that actually want to upload. So if I just upload any image over here, so let me upload my image. So once I upload my image, it will just reduce the size that Azure function, and it will just populating over here. So now see that image got loaded. All that application we just orchestrate in our Aspire application, and we can easily manage all that application together without any complex deployment and all. So we can easily one place. So that actually we have to build in this complete all that application we will build over here one by one. So yeah, before we start implementation, I'm especially recommend if you first time visit my channel, which is .NET real world example. So you can see there's a many other step also, so you can learn like front end, back end as a full stack developer, or AI integrations, and also game development. So many things actually you can just learn it over here. So yeah, let's moving to start to implementations. So yeah, let me just create a new applications over here in this Visual Studio. and look for this template. You can just search for here in .NET Aspire. So I already available over here, so it's showing like that .NET Aspire starter app. So this will give you, the default template which have front end and back end. Like they provide a sample of that back end and also front end for Blazor application. So let me just quickly create it and make it this one for app with React app, right? And yeah, pretty much good. Next, and yes, whatever that latest you know framework, so you can use it. So as of now I will use .NET 9, and make sure use that .NET latest version, that Aspire latest version. So I'm using the .NET 4 9.4, and rest of things will remaining same. Create. And not only just Visual Studio, like this implementation also you can use it in a VS Code. And for VS Code, definitely you use that C# dev kit extension. That's it. Otherwise you will won't able to compile and all. Okay. And yeah, one more thing, actually you can just use it for, if you required Aspire CLI, so you can just simply there's a one command, right? So that you can use it to install .NET Aspire CLI in this Windows and Linux, or in a Mac you can use another command. So this is that command actually. So IEX, and just use this command to install CLI, right? So Aspire CLI. So for example, let me show you Aspire, and then if I see the version, see it is available Aspire, right? So like this way, that optionally you can, if you want to use it, so you can use it, but yeah, it's just optionally. So yeah, once you're done, now I already created applications, right? So if I open it, so here's my application, right? And if you see over here, there are created this couple of project, right? So I already explained in a couple of session, but yeah, I'm just recap again. So this is this app service, okay, and this is our common library which can integrate all that applications. And this is our front end of Blazor application, and this is our main app host project which can integrate, or this is a main project which can interact that on app service and web application and everything actually over here. So if I just open over here like app host, now see, as of now nothing over there, just only whatever that our app service, which is this project, right? App service project, and we just use it over here with builder add project, and it is allowing just add with the health check and this over here, right? Just created the instance over there, and we have to that app service actually dependent in our front end application, right? So basically we just use this as a reference, and also use for wait for, like until start this app services, our web application on a front end application won't start, right? So that is a flexibility actually provide the .NET Aspire. So quickly run this application and see what we have as a default template. So now it's running, right? And if you see over here, they just try to run. Yes, the app service is running, also front end application also got running, right? And now these are that state, like running state, that could pretty much good. And also they're providing that URLs right over here. So if you run your front end or back end, so you can just open it over here for back end. So yeah, if I just use that endpoint, so I can able to see that API response. But yeah, first let me open over here front end, right? So this is our front end, and if I just click over, yeah, everything looks good. And yeah, once I click that weather forecast, so it is just calling in our app service, like that. You can just check it over here uh, as a structure log. So if you see this is that front end and this is back end, right? And also it is just calling to front end, back end. Yeah, this is back end, and in this back end they're just calling the service and all, right? So this is the trace. So in this trace actually you can able to see how actually calling your front end, back end. Yeah, see, this is the API is calling, and this API endpoint is weather forecast. So just simply you can just call to your uh, web service app services over here. So what is the name actually? So name is weather forecast. So copy this and simply if you just paste it, and you will see that same response which we have in an UI. Okay, so like this way we can start. So now first what I'll do, let me stop this. Okay, and here, so first of all I'll just create I just create our integrate our DB along with our the to do APIs, right? Currently we have that as a default weather forecast, but yeah, we'll create a that all that endpoint which can provide that all that to-do list. Even there's a flexibility to move it to that to-do list to up and down, move next, or I think up and down to up, right? So that's functionality we will achieve. So we have to just create those. So for that what I can do first, so simply I just create one entity over there because we have to use entity framework. So let me just create one class as a to do class and make it the to do class over here, and I just create a couple of properties over here like this, right? And yeah, simply use the title is complete and position, like this is that refer to position, like how actually you want to move up and down your position this to-do list, right? So yeah, once it's done, like once it's created the entity, so we'll just create that scaffolding template so that we can ensure all the DB context and will create it. You can just create a manually, but I'll show you like how we can use it for as a command, like which can help you to create all that minimal API along with that DB context and all. So there's a couple of way. I think you can just open a terminal, or you can use that inside this VS Code or Visual Studio Code as a terminal. So open any terminal and go to this particular locations, right? And then you can just use this command. So this is that command .NET tool install global or Microsoft .NET scaffolding. So once you hit enter, so it will just tool is already installed over there, right? And once you install, now use the .NET this command, okay, .NET scaffolding. So this scaffolding tool install, then you can use .NET scaffolding, and it will allow to actually to create this scaffolding for their minimal API or web API, right? With that, along with the DB context and DBs. So using that command, now see you are able to see such a now scaffolding, like what kind of scaffolding you want, right? Also we have that ability to front end, like directly we can use it by it, but I'll use that command. And here we have to use this API. So I'll just use API, and which kind of controller, or what you want to use, like as a minimal API, or you want to use a controller with the entity framework and all. So I just use simply minimal API, and then what are the project you want to use. So yeah, I'm using that app services project, and yeah, it's just looking for that model classes. So yeah, I'm just using this to do which I already created, so using that to do list. And in here enter a new name of endpoints, like what kind of endpoints you want to create it. So I'll just simply use that to do endpoints, and then uh, open API, right? So this is if you want to open API enable, so you can use it yes, or otherwise no. So I'll just keep it at yes, and then enter your DB context name. So whatever DB context name you are referring, so I'll just use DB context name this, and then which kind of database. Yeah, so this is the database part. So if you want to SQL server, you can use a SQL server. So as of now I'll using the SQLite, but later on I'll show you that SQL server on Cosmos DB or ng Postgres, right? So yeah, let me just choose this SQLite, right? And yeah, like include that pre-release package. So no, as of now if you want, so you can use it. I'm just refer is no. Now see, finally it's done, everything is done. And if we look that project, now it is just got created your endpoints, your DB context, which already we just created to-do list, right? And those are things just on place. And even if I see that app.setting, let me just down. Okay, so app.setting also just create in a db context, and also it's modified this program.cs file, that db context, just add the db context, that particular db context over here, and using whatever that context connection string is get here. So this is fine, uh, up to is fine, but yeah, will .NET Aspire actually provide that another flexibility. We don't require this connection string and all, so we can just use that way. So as of now I'll just keep it this way, but yeah, I'll show you in the later how we can remove that and we can use a simple way. Okay, so yeah, once you're done, now what I'll do, I'll just simply save it and run this application. So now application got running. So yeah, so the application is running. If you go to over here, and then we have to check that our API. So what is our API? Just newly created. It is a to do, I think, API, then to do. And once you try to API and to do, so see, if you hit up that endpoint, so you are getting this error, right? So its error actually look like you just create your db context and all, but you haven't migrated, right? So for migration, what you need to do, if you go here, and actually I want to little bit changes over here, like for example, I don't require this API, so I just remove this API. And yeah, that pretty much good over here. And for implementation perspective, actually I need to implement, because I have that all that, get all tools, to-do list, get by ID, update to-do list, create to-do list, right? But there is a missing that two functions, right, which is now move up and move down. So for that I just want to create this two endpoint over here in this below, so that we can ensure, okay, not this one, in below here. Yeah, so there is a one endpoint. I already actually have that code, so I don't want to create. So it's just simple using this move up and passing that ID, and based on the ID actually we have that logic, so we just get that list and we just change the position. That's it, right? Similar, I can use that move down, take a position ID, sorry, that is a to-do list ID, and based on this we have to change the position. That's it. Okay, this two endpoints we just add it, and once you add it, now we have to that migration. Okay, so for migration, we can just use that command, .NET EF migration command. So again, just go back to your terminal and go to that particular project, which is your app service project, and use this command, this EF migration, right? So .NET EF migration, hit enter. Okay, now it succeed. Now see, migration is succeed. Now we need to update uh, update your database, right? So there's a two command actually, basically. One is migrate, and then another one is upgrade. So let me take it this upgrade one, .NET EF database upgrade, so that whatever database actually we have, now see, all that migration got created, and also if you see that DB got created here itself. Okay, so currently I'm using that local, but yeah, later on we don't require this over here because we will remove it, our connection string, so that won't will create over here. Okay, so yeah, now if I run this application, I think it is pretty much good to now. So let me check it now, run it again, and it's got running. Yeah, open it that here and just simply check that to do, because this time I don't I just remove API. Now see, it is just empty things, because we don't have that right, we don't have any data over here. So for that, what we can do, we can just test it, that like how the data actually is properly using or not. So for that, actually either you can use the Postman or something else, but yeah, that you can check it, but as of now I'm assuming it is perfectly working. So I'm not going to test, but yeah, here that options, so you can just use and create endpoints and test it. Okay, now what I can do, yeah, that I think I can do later, that without connection string part, right? And yeah, one more thing actually we have to do, so that auto migration. Okay, so if it is newly created database, so we have to ensure its migration. So for that we can go to that program.cs file, and here before run I'm using this migration code, so which can be just migrate your uh, DB if it is not migrate. Once done, now we have to modify little bit code, actually that endpoint. Actually two things we have to just modify. One is the go to the 10 points. Just see, I'm just returning simply whatever the list, simply returning that, but not actually this is a right logic. So we have to return only that position, like what is that last position, right? Order by that position. So simply I can just use the order by that position, so that ensure every time is a refresh this list, so I'm getting that uh, that order by position means top list, right? So this is one changes, and another one also we have to change, like while just creating that where is that create one, so this is delete one, this is post one. Okay, so here before actually, yeah, so before that, so we just ensure, so here that our endpoint which will be create your new list, new item, right? And here we just put a one condition, one logic, like if it is okay, so if first time or just creating a new item, so we have to check like whatever the position is, if it is a less than or equal to 0, so we just add a logic to actually add the position on that whatever that max position, right? So that we can just increment our position automatically, so we don't not to expect it from that UI to position. Okay, so yeah, these two changes is fine. Now we are good for this API part, right? So this API part is completely done. Now we have to create a React application. So for React applications, either you can just use this terminal, or you can just use another terminal, that is fine. But what I can do, I can just go to that the main directory over there, like this is a root directory, right? So these are that application directory, but yeah, there's a root directory, Aspire and Aspire React app, right? And here simply you need to install your node.js. So I hope you are just already installed npm that node.js, actually you have to install. And once you install, so definitely you can create React app like this simple command. Okay, so npm create, and then using the byte framework, and also using this template as a React, right? So I'm just creating React along with the byte, right? So hit enter, and here there's couple of option again, like which framework or which things actually you want to use it. So I'll just use over here React, right? So use that React over here. Yeah, hit enter, and then what is that script, select the variants. So I'll just use the TypeScript over there, and now it's done, right? And if you want to this application run, so you can just simply first just use this command npm installed, right? So just remove this, yeah, npm install, and whatever package you have. So okay, so I think you have to move this first, you have to move this directory which is to do front end. So go to cd, or just copy this, actually copy this, paste it, and go to the directory, and then simply copy this over here, go to that, but install npm install, so whatever the package in this application, actually it will installed. So once it's done, now the last command would be try to run. So yeah, just I want to make sure like whatever just I just created the template, so that is properly working or not. Okay, but don't worry, we'll run this application in .NET Aspire, not a single separate running. So yeah, it is running, and if I just open or just copy this URL and open any browser, and here I can just try to check this template it's working or not. Yeah, so see, the template is working, even counting also working by this React, so that is fine. So now we will integrate in our .NET Aspire how we can .NET Aspire try to run this application along with the dependency or API service and all, right? So let me close that. Even I can close it over here, terminal. And now we have to moving to Aspire part. So this is Aspire host. So this is now actually come in the picture. Okay, so we already actually couple of API service, so just we have to modify created API service, that is fine. And yeah, also we just separately create that uh, what do you say, that React app, that is also fine. But now it's part of integration, like how we can actually integrate in our .NET Aspire project. Okay, so for that, actually for Node.js, actually we have that one package in .NET Aspire provide, so that we can use it using that NuGet package, or we can simply use as a command prompt. So I'll show you both way. So first let me go to that root directory, right? And in this root directory I have to go with this one, like app host. So what is that? CD app service app host. Yeah, so go to that particular directory, right? This is that particular directory, and here you can just simply use one if you install Aspire CLI, so use that Aspire CLI, add this NuGet package. Okay, so this is the one way. And another way is you can directly go here, manage NuGet package, and look for that, and look for NuGet package, actually Aspire dot hosting dot node.js. So not in the install section, go to that browser section and see, this is that package actually, which is 9.4, right, which is latest one. So you can just install this. And one more package actually I required, which is a CT extension. Okay, so for that again ideally you can use that command over here. Let me just remove this. So Aspire CT extension, or I can simply use that that NuGet package, like in here. So yeah, this is that hosting dot this one, community Aspire hosting dot, which will actually ability to uh, to add your byte app in your hosting in your .NET Aspire project. So this is that main action package. So install that, apply that, accept that. Okay, so once you're done, now go back to your app.hostcs file, and here we'll add that, like so. Yeah, I think ideally you can up and down, that is up to you, not an issue. So what I can do, yeah, actually one more things over here. So yeah, the db actually it's not dependent over here, but yeah, that should be dependent over here. Okay, so that we will change it, not an issue. But yeah, let me just first let me configure for that. uh, Let me configure for React app application over here. Now see, simply use that builder dot add byte. So see, this is just coming from that extension package. Okay, and then using that whatever name your front application, so my application name is a to do frontend, and where is your directory? The root directory. And then in the root directory, where is that? It is just to do frontend application, right, which we have just created as a template. And then using that bit reference with whatever app service actually dependent I'm just using, and also wait for that until open this will be not run, right, and also using that with npm package installation, right. So before it start, it will just try to install npm package. It is pretty much good right now. Okay, so let me run it and show it like how look like. So if you run it, as of now just I allow to reference, but yeah, currently there's no connectivity on all, but yeah, I do that. So yeah, this is running and this is also running, and see, they're trying to running. Yeah, to do application is running also. This is complete, right? Like this npm install also is complete. So if you want to see that console log, so you can just check it over here how look like. So if you see the console log, see what they're trying to do. They're just waiting and running a state, and once you run, so now just running this is here, and also just hosting and listening on this port, right? So go back, and if you run this, now application got running perfectly via this .NET Aspire. Okay, so now next part is like integration this to that, right? So for that, what I can do, simply close that, go back, and yeah, now I'll just want to open and BS code, because of like whatever React application we just added, it is not happening over because we have not add in this solution folder, right? So for that, what I can do, I can just open it in in BS code also. So let me open a terminal here. So this is my project, so go to inside this project, open a terminal, and directly open this to in BS code. Okay, and here, okay, now my editor is open over here with this BS code, oh sorry, with the React app, and this is look like our application which have that src and this default template and all. I'm uh, pretty much good for this, but yeah, we have to just modify. So first modification actually over here, I have to just create or just modify actually this byte configuration, so that our connectivity, like whatever API connectivity through this configuration to client to our client to our app services. Okay, so for that, I already have that little bit configuration, so I don't want to write the code. Simply what I can do, I can just replace that. Okay, don't worry, I'll share this code to you, right? And let me explain actually. So it just pretty much simple, like this is a defined configuration, and here I'm just using that in a proxy API, and whatever that API we have just replaced to that empty this. That's it, right? So whatever call actually we are getting over here, we just using over here, and just replacing API and just throw to API. Okay, so this is good. And now next, what I can do, I have to just integrate some components. So first I'll just create one component, like a folder, it is a components. So let me inside this src folder, I'll just let me create a folder which is component, and in this component I'll just create a file, for example to do item file. Okay, so let me just create here as a file, that to do item file, right? And in this to do item file, I don't want to write the code because this is just a simple design perspective, right? And just create this function, like delete function, move function, and this move task down, like move task down and move task up, and this is a delete, right? So this three function is over there, and this is a just a component which will use a parent, so this is a child component. So now moving to that that another the main parent component, which is a to-do list, which will bind this component. So again I'll just create another file which is this, and simply I can just use this, the handy code for design. So yeah, simply this is that file, right? And this file just using that get to do list and just fetching to API dot to do, right? And this API actually we just using in here, right? And then call it to this and get that response, and this response will be binded over here, right? So similar all that to do list and that add task, like if you want to add a new task, this is a new task. If you want to delete task, it is delete task, and move task and move up and down, right? And this is a straightforward HTML for that. And yeah, I think this is pretty much good. Now for design part, actually I have to just create another file for the design, right? So for design I'll just simply create another design file like to-do list css file, and I have already handy that css file. So yeah, so this is a css design, that is fine. And yeah, I think it is pretty much good for these components, right? So now we have to go to that main file. Where is our main file? Yeah, this is our main file. So we ensure like, okay, that app is component is calling, because this app is the main app is a app component. And if I go to this and go to this app, so see, this is main file is calling that app. So in this app, so whatever that old code, right? So this is our old code. We can just simply remove this. Okay, so I can just remove it from here and there, right? And I can just place our to-do list, right? So let me just import first our to-do list over here. So yeah, just import that, because our component is inside this component. And yeah, component inside this to-do list. And rest of things I think we can remove it because we don't require this. Okay, and here I can just use our to-do list. That's it, so that once our application will run, our to-do list will call it over here. That's it, right? uh yeah, it's look like something. Also remove this guy, right? We don't need that. So yeah, pretty much good for here. Even this use statements always don't need to that. Even that app.css is fine as of now. Okay, cool now. So yeah, also we can replace our index.cs file as a css, because that css might be little bit different, but yeah, let that we'll do in later. So now we'll try to run this application. So go back to our Visual Studio over here and run this application. So once you run, let me open it. And now see, I'm able to see that list that is looks good over here. And for functionality perspective, let me check it is working or not. Like I am able to see, like add, like for example .NET. Okay, so .NET, let me add. Now see, the new item got added with .NET over here, along with this, style, and then move up and down, right? So that means it is working fine. If I just add for React, if I just add now, it is also here, let be fine, like .NET and React. And if I just up and down, so yeah, it is up and down also working. It is down also, it's working. But I think the text is not looks good, because it is just hiding to that color, so that we can just little bit modifications over here. So for design perspective, I think I can change it to for index dot, might be the design is not up to date over here. So for design, yeah, index.cs file, yeah, I can change it for this to this. And yeah, pretty much good, I guess. So yeah, go back to your application, go back to application. Yeah, now pretty much good. Now see, it is white color. Yeah, so yeah, like this way, see, we easily implement React in .NET Aspire, right? And yeah, one more thing actually I want to show you, like this DB part. Now see, now this is totally front-end dependent in application, right? This app service, but this app service actually also dependent the DB. So for that, what I can do, simply let me close that. So for that, actually, that here, that another flexibility provide that Aspire. So I can just simply use that SQL DB over there. So for that, if I check, yeah, Node.js, but yeah, I think for that I required one package. What SQL package, right? So aspire.sqlite. So that package actually I required. So let me add that package first. Over here I can need that community host SQLite. So let me use that. Uh, okay, so community, I guess I missed that. So community, cool. So this package actually needed to handle that SQLite DB on that .NET Aspire project. So use that because it is provide that extension. Okay. So once you're done, now go back to your app host, and here we'll simply use that builder using like this way. So yeah, using the add SQLite, providing the DB, and then use this as SQL Lite for BAP, so that you can access to SQLite on the BAP access also, right? So now this is the DB will be just running, right? And now this DB actually should dependent in this service project, right? So as like we can just simply use that add with the reference, right? So with reference for DB and also wait for DB, right? So now once I just create this DB, ensure I'm just assigning to over here. So then I think we don't require to dependent in this app service inside, right? So for that what I can do, go to that program.cs file, and here instead of this, so let me just comment it for this. Okay, so now we are not actually providing the connection string and all, so it is directly we can use it. So for that we have that extension actually provided over here. So for that we have to record another package in here, app service side. So let me go to that, and yeah, this is that package. So yeah, this package actually required like community toolkit Microsoft entity framework .sqlite. So just install this package in this here, and now go back to your program.cs file, and then once you add that package you will able to see builder dot add SQLite DB context. So you will add this DB context and just simply pass it to your DB context, right? Instead of your, and then simply pass it whatever DB you have in your you just app host, you just mention the DB, right? So simply you just pass it to DB, right? That's it. Okay, so what it will do, it will just create a container, right, for that SQLite, and it will manage inside the container, not that explicitly to mention over here. So you can just simply just delete that. We don't need that actually, so just delete. And yeah, I think it is pretty much good. If I run this application, now it's running, and also yeah, it's betting, now it's running also, you are able to see. So your DB is now running, right? And also DB is just creating a container over here because I have already installed Docker, so it is taking a Docker. Even two things there, the Docker or Podman, so both are, it's fine. And if you see that console log, see that just create a over here, and also just listening pointing over here, right? And if you see the graph, so now you are able to see that clear picture, like this is app service, front end actually depend on this app service also depend on this DB, and DB is also allowed to admin access. Okay, I'll show you that how we can show that on browser. So like this way also we'll implement this web application, that Blazor application for this app service to use that same functionality, right? So let me just show it first, like that SQL DB over here. So let me open this, and once you open, now see SQL DB is, this is your DB and it is open. And if you want to query, so you can just query for this query section and select star from to do, and as of now I don't think we have any data. Yeah, empty is all set. So if we want to add some data over here, for example .NET Aspire, and once you add, if you go back and execute, now you're able to see the data is available over here, right? So now same things we will implement in this Blazor application also, right? So how we can do that? So for that, actually we already has a component, and also we'll just implement that. Nothing we have to do that on this, so just stop that. And this is the last portion actually. So yeah, here I'll just create a component. So that, let me just create a component to expand this page section and add, or just paste it. Yeah, so yeah, I already has that component, so I don't want to create again and again. So it have just simply just route, right, and just a style, whatever the style, and whatever your to-do list, right? So here's the to-do list, this to-do list, and we are just trying to bind that to-do list. And also we have that move up, down, and delete functionality over here. And yeah, let me just close it. Yeah, and we just need to create a to-do list class over there as like this just model. So let me just create it over here quickly. On this section, add class, just create a to-do list, and that's it. Okay, so just create a to-do list and go back to your component. Yeah, pretty much good for here, and rest of things I think it's fine, right? So yeah, I think this is a simple component, right? If you record, you can take it to the my GitHub link. And yeah, one more thing actually, see, we required as a client, right? As like we have that client of the weather forecast client in this weather application. Similar, we have to just create this to-do list client, right? So for that, let me just create a to-do list client over here. Right click on that, create a new class, and just create a to-do list client. Okay, and in here I'll just simply call those function, right? Whatever function we required. So I just have to create that function over there like this way. So yeah, like this way you can just create a function and call it that HTTP endpoint. And this HTTP endpoint, actually basically you can just use that constructor. So use that HTTP client, and that's it. Okay, so yeah, using that constructor, inject the constructor, and we can resolve the dependency for this class in over here. So that's it. Like all this add, list, update, delete, swap, right, move, and is. So whatever that client actually you just prepare, so you just actually refer to over here. And yeah, I think you can just manipulate over here. So in this case I can just use like this way, as like we just use for that weather forecast, right? So similar I can use for this to-do list client, and just mention your app service. So see, this is just app service, not that for complete URL. Like whatever our app service URL, we just use that app service, that's it. Okay, because we have to use in our app.host as a app services, right? So like this way, yeah, this is that app services, right? So that app service I have to just using over here, that's it. Okay, I think this is pretty much good for now for this application, and let me build it. Okay, I think there's some namespace issue, so yeah, let me remove that namespace, unnecessary namespace, because I just take a component, right? So might be that is not a right namespace. Yeah, it's running pretty much good. Run this. Yeah, so front end for React is running, backend front end for Blazor is running, also it's running, everything is running. Okay, so let me test it now one by one. So go to that React one, add .NET Aspire, add this. Okay, now go to that front end for Blazor application. Oh my god, I just missed that to add this over here. So yeah, don't worry, I think that is name of to do list, or no, I think only just to do. So let me do that to do. Yeah, so to do is there. Yeah, perfectly working fine, getting that data. Even if I add one more over here, for example Blazor, right? So if I just add a Blazor, yeah, Blazor is there. If I just try to move, yeah, it's moving perfectly. Down is also fine. If I want to delete, yeah, delete also there. Even if I want to delete this guy, so just refresh, yeah, let move it everything. And same things I can check it for my query as well, right? So select star from to do. Yeah, there's a no list. Add .NET. Cool. If I refresh, it is available. If I execute, it is available, right? So yeah, that is pretty much good for this session. But yeah, definitely we'll add upcoming session for, as like we had React and Blazor. So we'll add upcoming session for Angular or other front-end framework, right? And along with this DB, like as of now we using the SQL DB, but yeah, we'll use for SQLite, or SQL Server, or other other DBs as well. So what I can do, simply I just open it, in VS Code. So what I can do, go to that particular directory, and I can, if I just already install the VS Code, so I can use this command and it will automatically open a editor, a VS Code editor, along with this complete solutions, right? So now my solution got opened over here. So first of all, I'll just want to add um, that Angular app, right? So for that Angular app, basically actually we just require that Node.js. So I believe that will be installed in your system. But if you not, just install the Node.js and then go to any terminal, and yeah, just open it the terminal. And here I can just make sure that install Angular CLI globally, which is will be installed in your local with this latest version. Also, if you want to latest version, so you can just mention at the latest. So I'll just use that, so that whatever CLI Angular, it will available over here. So once you available, now we'll move it to create a project over here. Now it's just completed this command, and also install that 66 packages. And yeah, also just ensure you are in the root directory, right? So whatever that project in this root directory, so that I can create a new Angular app in here, right? As like this frontend, to do frontend, right? So let me just create a new app over here for Angular. So the command for this ng new, right? And I can use to do, so I can just simply use that name, like to do Angular app. This is my app name, and simply I can hit enter. And once you hit enter, now see they're asking actually couple of things actually. So if you want to CSS and also, I'll use the CSS. So just simply use, hit enter. And then also asking to style, format and all, like do you want to server side and all. So as of now I'll just keep it no, and also no. And yeah, that if you want to that memories things and all, Google Cloud and all, Cursor, Gemini. So as of now I'll just skip that, and need to wait to complete that all that package, all the file in this root directory. So once done, now see all the package got created, and here also the new app got created over here, that to do Angular app. And once you expand, now you are able to see all that files over here. So for better before you start anything, so you have to just make sure, like once you created your app, it is just is a workable position or not. So for that, actually you can just simply run your application using that directory. So go to that directory, which is to do, and yeah, that Angular app. So go to that your directory, which is Angular app, right? And just simply I can just clear that over here, and here I can just use npm start. and now see, this is running for this port. If you run this, yeah, you are able to see this is the default template actually for the Angular app. That's perfectly fine. Okay, and yeah, let me close everything and also just terminate this one so that I can just uh, start that modification over here. Okay, now just remove the terminal, or you can just go back to your root directory. So now my current directory is this and my Angular directory is this, right? So just revert one step back for this directory in the root directory, and then let me do one thing. Okay, so first of all, I'll just add our Angular app in that Aspire, right? So for that, where is our Aspire project? This is my Aspire project, and in this Aspire project I need to add, as like we have add for that front end app for this uh, previously we just add for React app, right? So similar, I just to add up Angular app, so but not use this extension. We have that different extension. So like for example, I'll use that add npm, right? So builder dot add npm. Okay, let me just close that. Okay, so use that builder and then add, so add npm. Okay, so this is the same package which we have been using last time, like extension package. So you can just use that extension package in your project. So which is this, like this is extension package, so you can refer that. So this will be allowed to all that one. Okay, so yeah, go back to your app setting over here, and here. Okay, so here what you can do, we have to use other setting as like web reference with reference, even for bait 4, because so that bait for this, and also we have to use that with npm package, so that automatically run npm install if node module is missing, right? So these are just normal things which is fine, but actually we have to add additional things, okay, so that our application can run. So for that we have to use another one which is called http endpoint. So http with the http endpoint provide that environment and the port. Okay, so in this case it will provide that endpoints, this Angular app. And one more extension you can, if you want, you can use the, but that is optional. So I'll just make it the optional, right? And this can use if you want to create a docker package, docker file for this Angular app, so you can use it. So using this published docker file, so if you want you can use this one also. Okay, but yeah, this is the optional, so I keep it like this way. That's it. Okay, so these are setting actually we required from this in your app Aspire project. That's it. And let me show you it running. Okay, so once you're done, let me try to run and see what happened. So for run, actually you can directly run this using Visual Studio, or you can just using .NET Run and specific this project, Aspire project, and you can run it. And another way actually you can run simply using that, install that Aspire CLI, and then you can Aspire CLI and then Aspire run. Now your application got running over here. So let me open it, and here see, first time it is trying to install npm and all, but it is failing, right? So why it's failing, we can check it over here as well. So go to that console log, you can see that app services to do front end and all, actually that's missing, right? The dependency actually that missing. So that is perfect. That's why I'm just trying to open so that you can see that what is the issue. So issue is that whatever the dependency I'm just trying to add in Aspire project, that is actually wrong. Okay, so if you close that, if you go back that Aspire project, now see over here. So if you look here closely in this section, see what I just mentioned, work directories which like to do Angular app, right? And I just created, see there is a spelling mistake, right? So that's why it's not match, and I'm getting that error. It is not properly dependent. Actually it is dependent, right? So but that is not available. So yeah, either is you can just change the name right? And or you can just correct it over here. So as of now I'll just correct it over here. Like, what is that? I guess, yeah, so this would be, or just make it copy over here so that we can avoid that another exception. Simply save it. Okay, save. Now control C and then run it again, and let me open it. And now once you open, now see they are waiting to install on that npm, and now I am able to see that endpoint of Angular, right? And not endpoint, actually we can say listening point, and just open it. So once you open, so I think now see it's not running properly. It is running over here, but it is not appearing over here. It's why. So that also is flexibility. If you go to the console log, you can see this is your endpoint is this sorry listening point. So if you just open this listening point, so it will be open, but via that Aspire it is unable to open, right? So how we can fix it? So that is a challenges over here. So for that we have to do one thing, just close us everything, and you have to go this package.json. Where is that package.json? Yeah, so for package.json actually we required little dependencies so that we can start our application. So first dependency is actually we have to add a one package, which is this. Okay, so run script os, actually this package actually needed for that. And once we add this package, we have to configure a little bit over here as like over there, right? So just simply I can use that start to that script, right, for that package from this package, and I can just start with 32 build or default with this. That's it. Okay, so yeah, those setting actually required to this, so that your Aspire actually support and open your applications, right? And once you're done, now save it. And so what I can do, simply I can close that, right, and clear everything and save it, proper save all the place. And yeah, one thing I see something is missing, so yeah, let me run it again. Okay, and just open it. Okay, it's waiting now, it's running. If I see console log, yeah, it's running properly. Yeah, also now this time see it is running for this script os, right? And now I am getting this listening point, right? Perfectly listening point, right? Listening point. So for that what I can do, simply I can just hit this guy. Yeah, now I'm able to open my Angular app, right? So the setting actually you required in your package.json, so that you are able to connect in Aspire listening point over here, right? So now we are good to start. Now we can integrate our APIs in our Angular, and we have to show that all that whatever actually last time we have built for this React app, right? Like this nice look, and also if user want to add, so they can add and update and delete those up and down to-do list, right? So same things we have to implement, so that you can get an idea, like if you integrate any client app in an Aspire, so how you can just consume your APIs, and then you can just integrate in your front end app application or back end application, or any other application. So for that what I can do, what we will do actually, so yeah, I have to create one proxy configuration, right? So let me just create a proxy configuration class in here in this Angular project. So on this proxy, so this is that file, actually proxy.config, whatever file actually you can just use as JS file. And then we have to use this, then we have to write few lines of code which will handle your APIs. Okay, and see this is that process environment I just set for our services.api services, whatever our services. And similar I can just use for HTTPS and HTTP, and then also just use that environment, which is a whatever environment you want. So I just specify the environment and path redirect to that APIs, right? So just simple simple proxy class, and this proxy actually file we have to use in our, actually this is a concept of Angular. So if you new to configure and start a Angular application to any API, and also I think you have to go to my all other previous session. So I will go to angular.json file, and in here you are able to see that development setting, right? So if you scroll down, so if you see in this subsection, right, in this angular.json file, there is a default configuration, right? So this default configuration, you have to change it to you have to just add that whatever newly we added that proxy configuration, right? So we have to add over here so that they can refer, and then all that API calls will be directed from this place only. So for that we can just simply use that. So I'll just add this option. So this is a configuration as a options, and then provide that proxy configuration and add your proxy configuration.js file which we just created over here. That's it. Okay, so once you're done, now this part is completed. Now we are able to use any API call in our applications. Okay, so now we will do implementation our component. So right now we have that app component, right? This is a main as a uh, as a default component this is providing. So here that HTML, all that CSS, so I'm just expand that, and this is the similar like that. And what I'll do, I'll just there's a very big CS style and all, so I'll just remove everything so that I can start from cleanup code, right? So let me just remove this guy, save it, and if I check how it look like, yeah, now it's very clean this component. Now we can easily start our things. So first of all, what I'll do, I'll just make sure yeah, I think that's fine. I just start from my app.ts file where I can just consume our API, right? So for that, simply I can just use some dependency. I'll just record some dependency, like for example I required that HTTP client. Okay, so for that I can just simply create a constructor over here, and in this constructor I can use that HTTP client, so that whatever call actually I want, so as I use the HTTP client, and this one is required the dependency, so I can just add a dependencies over here. So yeah, I think VS Code not allow me to add directly, but yeah, I can just use it for HTTP client from Angular import, right? So I can use this import, and yeah, now we are good to go use for this HTTP client. And yeah, I can just I have to just create a to do class so that I can use it for my as a model, right? So I'll just to create the to do model over here which have that ID, title, and positions. And yeah, and what I'll do, I just simply use that on initialize method, right? Or just simple we have to create one load to do list. Okay, so once load to do list, actually I can just simply create over here, just create a one list over here, one actually function which can get that API, right? Call that API and to do API, and it will return back, and just simply use it over here, right? So yeah, I think yeah, so this dot to do's actually we have to define somewhere. So let me just define in our constructor, not our constructor, actually initial level. Yeah, that's it, right? And yeah, we are good. Like simply just call this API to do, and but get that list result, and just assign to in our to do list. That's it, right? And this to do list I'll show it over here in our HTML page. That's it. So like this is that Angular concept, and I want to show you one more thing actually. So this one actually I have to call it, either you can call it directly over here, but I'll just implement that lifecycle hook method so that I can use it those things. So let me just simply implement this, on in, and here I can just create that, use that package, right? And I have to implement that lifecycle loop method. So yeah, implement that interface. So this is my interface, and in this interface I can call directly this method. That's it. Cool. Now this is set up for this API with the HTTP client, and one thing I would like to check it, like, okay, so now if I'm just calling this API, I'm getting that response or not, right? So that I can just ensure over here using that console dot log, and then yeah, just make it, just pass it to result and see what is the result is coming over here. And if I using that HTTP client, right, definitely we have to resolve the dependencies, right? And for the dependencies also, this component actually we should make it to injectable, right? And if I make it to injectable, definitely I use this package. Okay, so that injectable package. And yeah, pretty much good. And one thing actually I have to configure in this app.config.ts file, so that our, whatever call, right, http, whatever dependencies and injectable, right, so that can resolve the dependency. So for that actually we use that http client, that provider dot http client, and also we have to add that package. That's it. Okay, so once you change everything, right, and then simply you can just run. So before run, make sure all that file, whatever you just file, actually you just change it so properly save. So save, or you, if you want, so just close it so that all that file properly saves. Sometime I just faced, okay, if it's file is not saved, so I'm getting some error. So just make sure that. Okay, so what I can do, I can simply run this Aspire application and see that API is interactive or not in my client application. So open it, open this, and yeah, as of now, so let me check first my API log over here, console log, or stretch. So see, trace is nothing over there. So what I can do, uh, open it, my Angular app. So open it, Angular app. Yeah, Angular app is open, and if I go back and go to the trace, now see the to-do list is calling over here, and I'm getting successfully result. And same things I can check it over here. If you just go to F12, now I'm get call this API. If you network tab, if you just refresh, see to do is complete to 200 along with that empty response, because currently it does not have anything. Okay, so that I can check like this way, because we already have that front end application like React application, right? So if I add over here, like for example it is React, right? So if I just add a React, so that now this should be return that data. So if you just F12, and if you go to that network tab, go to there, and now see the data is appearing, right? Now that means that API is perfectly working. So now we have to implement that features over here, so that I can, in Angular actually I can just add, update, delete, or whatever that feature is available React, so that I can just use it over here. So for that I already have the design and all, so I don't want to line by line, I don't want to write that code line by line, but yeah, I will explain everything. So go to that app.html. So before that HTML, actually go to that app.ts file, so that I can make all that, all that services. First let me consume all that services. So I'll just complete this load, load to-do list. So similar, I'll just create for add. So let me create for add, and also is a new td, new title item. So let me add this guy over here on the top here. Yeah, that's cool. And now second method would be like, toggle completed. So use that toggle completed, and now another function we have to create for delete. So this is the delete. It's simple, just calling to all that APIs, nothing have to do special. Okay, and yeah, another one is move one, which will be move your to-do list to, up and down. So this is for up, so I want to up that particular item, so I can just use calling this API. And if I want to down, so I can use that down. So it's just pretty much simple concept for call your APIs over here in Angular. So just call on over here and setup, then we have to design in our app.schtml file, like HTML file, sorry. And in here I'll just make it the design. So for design, I can just use this one inside to tape. Okay, yeah, so this is my design. It's pretty much simple design, like for example, yeah, here I just create a to do over here, and this is add, I can able to add, and this is that UI list, like I just want to whatever item I just want to add, and then there's a couple of buttons over here, that's it. And these are everything is calling for app.ts file, right? So this is pretty much good. And yeah, I want to add some style in this over here, so that our app can look as an attractive look. So just add some styles over here. You can just prepare your style, but I'll just add my style. And yeah, that pretty much good, I guess. So let me go back here. If I just refresh, and yeah, currently might be it's not working. Okay, so let me close that and save it. And yeah, I think this is actually same thing, like see, all that file might be sometimes not properly saved, so that's why this issue. So you can just simply close, and once you close, now see they are asking to save it. Yes, I want to save. Now save. Yes, that's it. And then now we have to run it. And let me open it. Yeah, wait for running. Once you run, let me open this. Yeah, now see, now looks wise it's pretty much good. And if I want to add, like for example, it is Angular, right? So let me Angular add. Yeah, I'm able to see Angular over here, that functionality also, all that functionality working. Let me add Aspire. Yeah, Aspire is also available. And if I want to move up and down, so if I want to down to this Angular, so I can use this. Now see, Angular is down, and if I want to Angular is up, so I can just up it. And similar things, .NET, sorry, .NET. Okay, and .NET, yeah. So yeah, that is pretty much good. And .NET would be in between. So yeah, in between. And same things we can check in our React app. So see, whatever add I just added over here on this Angular side, so that data actually also is available in here, just because we are using same API service and all. And yeah, pretty much good. So that's way actually we can integrate our Angular app in our Aspire.NET. And yeah, that pretty much good for this session. And in upcoming session we will add more front-end applications and more back-end application, like server application like MVC or other application. I already added that that Blazor application, so you can just see over here. Okay, I just missed that navigation part, but yeah, this is that one. So yeah, this same application I just integrate and Blazor also. So in upcoming session we will do more and more in this year. We will integrate that Azure function in our Blazor application. So let me just close and stop all applications over here. And then first what I can do, I'll just create Azure functions over here. So add new project and look for Azure function. So look for over here as Azure function. So once you search, you're able to see this is that Azure function. So we have to just create a one Azure function. Next, and just make it, name it something Azure function. Yeah, just make it whatever name is suitable for you. So I'm just make it as of now Azure function, so that we can later on whatever additional things we can add it over here. So just create it, and once you create it, now it is just asking to that worker framework. So yeah, I'll just use that .NET 9 isolated one, and this is important actually, what function you have to use it. So there's a couple of functions, so I'll just use that blob trigger, so that once over blob, so that can be triggered, right? And also if you use this .NET Aspire orchestration, so that will be added in our .NET and orchestration project. So if you want, you can just use it, later on you can want also edit. So yeah, I'll just keep it the same whatever we have now. And yeah, I think configuration, yeah, we can just exclude that also, we don't require that as of now. And yeah, create that. Okay, now see, your default Azure function got created over here, which have that program.cs file, and another one is a function class, right, which have that blob trigger functions, which will trigger that blob based on their blobs, right? So that will modify, not an issue. But yeah, one more thing actually, they have added as the check it, right? Like, so orchestration, the functional architect and orchestration in our app host project. So if you expand that, if you go back to app host one, so if you scroll down, now see, they just simply use your Azure function orchestration in our Azure, in our app Azure Aspire project, right? That's cool, but we have to little more modification over there. But first what I will do, we just ready for our function, so that our function can have that feature. So that thumbnails, convert thumbnails feature available in our function, right? So that we have to implement. So for that, what I'll do, so as like we have that function, right, but this is a default function, similar function we'll just create it. So let me, so this has that default function class, right? So we can just create a new one, or also we can just modify it. So let me just modify it, so that we can easily, yeah, just first let me rename it like whatever that function name. So my function name would be thumbnail generator. So I'll just thumbnail generator over here. And yeah, and one more thing actually, we can do that over here. See, as of now we have that latest feature as the default constructor. So I'll just use the default constructor instead of that separate constructor. So let me just use all of that inside that, and let me remove this. Okay, so yeah, I'll just using the default constructor over here, and this queue, service queue client, right, that we have to require as a package. So that we can add it over here, using directly our Azure storage package. So use that latest version. Yeah, now is that package is also is available. And once you available, now we need a little more things, like we required few container and container client, and now queue client, right? So for that I can just create private properties over here, and just make it like this container client, and whatever that instruction, whatever injection that blob service client, I'm just get that particular container, right? Similar for that queue, also we are getting that queue container over here. So if you are familiar with this Azure function, definitely you will get this information, like okay, blob, what is queue and all. If you're not, so you can go to my channel. I had just created previously, like how we can create Azure function along with blob and queue and all everything. Okay, so now moving forward, so just first just create this property which can get that all that queue and blob information. And then I'll just create that function, like it is a run function. So we can use as a resize over here, because this is just similar, not a run function, like we have to just rename it to something whatever that name it. So yeah, this is resize, we want to resize our thumbnails, right? So for that, what would be that the name of this here, so name would be as a image. right? And so blob trigger name would be image, and that name, that is fine. And then also connection would be a blobs. So let me just make it as a connection as a blobs, that's it. And yeah, that is stream, whatever that project is stream data, and the name of this particular image, that's fine. Okay. And yeah, I think little more over here. Actually we have to do we have to just create other function as well, so that we can utilize over here. So first I want to resize, right? So let me just resize a function, create a resize a function over here. I don't want to write each of line, because that could be a lengthy of this session. So yeah, I'm just avoiding that. So for here, now see, I'm just creating a memory stream, get resize image. So whatever name of that image and stream, I'm just resizing over here, right? And then get it as a memory stream. And we have to record that couple of namespace. So yeah, let me use it that. So yeah, that package required for this, like sky sharp. So use that sky sharp for this parameter. Okay, now see, once you import your package, so sky sharp, so now all that problem has been solved. And what we are trying to do is simply just just converted your image to, just converted whatever the original size, we have to resize to our thumbnail size. That's it, just a simple, right? And after that we required one more function, one more actually function over here, which will upload after resize that size, original size, we will to upload it. So let me just create an upload function, and which also using that whatever resize stream, so that we will upload in our blob client. So which is this one only, right? Which we just create over here. So we can get that blob container over here, and we just upload our data inside the blob container. That's it. Okay. And then one last thing actually we have to do over here, we just send a message after upload that blob in our container. We have to send a message to the queue, so that based on that queue message, that will be retrieved and this trigger. Okay, we have to just perform this conversion over there, right? So now just send a message, okay, over here. And here actually we have to just create one class or model which can convert it your serializations of that data, right? So for that there's a two way. Either you can just create itself over here, and but I'll just create a shared folder over there. So let me create a new project so that I can use across all that project. So use a normal class library and choose this. Yeah, just shared, something like that, shared. Yeah, just make it shared library, and just create it and use .NET 9 as a standard one. And in here simply I can just create a upload class over here. So let me just create a, or just make it, change it this one as a record. And also there's a functionality to actually can remove that. Yeah, so just I create a record over here as a class, and just make it this name, so that there should not be no confusion. So how can we make, yeah, here I can just remake it. Okay, now cool. And one more thing, actually we have to just serialize over here that particular class always. So where I can just create, yeah, create a folder, I guess. Yeah, just make it a folder for serialization. And inside the serialization, let me create a class of the serialization. Let me add and create a class, make it that. Okay, now I just create a serialization in a context over here, and which will be inherit for JSON serialization. And the JSON serialization coming from this system.json serialization, right? And we can simply attribute, set as attribute over here. And yeah, let me just also see, this is the serialization context size. So we have to just partial class, so that we can use many places over there. So let me just make it a partial class over there. That's it. and not internal, actually it should be in the public. Okay, now cool. Now everything looks good over here. So now our shared library also is completed to use across that all that project. So yeah, I can simply add dependencies over here, this function project, this shared library. So this is my shared library, so just add it over here. So once you add it, go to the thumbnails project, it should be fixed that. Okay, yeah, now cool. Okay, so there is a one issue now. See, it is just taking from grpc, but it is not right. Okay, so actually why it's taking the grpc instead of the system.json? So might be yeah, I think it's not required. Why default is taking I don't know why, how they are taking over here. So we have to just import that class library, right? So just import that. So once you import that, now we are taking the default and all. Okay, that's cool, right? So now our send queue message function also got ready. So now we have to use those function inside this main function, right? So how we can use it? Simply one by one, actually that we have to call it over here. So let me just remove everything from here first, and let me try cache over here. And inside the try cache, first I'll just use get that resize functions, get resize functions, right? So I'll just using that resize stream, using that get method, this get method. And then once that completed, I'll just upload that stream into our blob storage, right? And then once you complete it, now we will send a message to the queue. That's it. So this is actually responsible of this queue, or sorry, this function, to you know upload and send a message. That's it. And just let me handle that exception, so that in any exception, so we can appearing on that logs. Okay, now that is completed over here, right? Our function is got ready. And one more thing actually we have to do over here, like little things need to do over here. So what I can do, so app service is fine, configuration applications also is fine, but yeah, whatever that add Azure Queue service client and blob service can be have to just registered over here. So for registration we can simply use these two services over here, and these are required actually extension package. Okay, so this extension package we have to bring back to over here. So that is actually coming from, so for this actually we require two extension. One is that Azure storage blob, and another one is a storage queues, right? So let me go to that function and go to that manage package, and let me search for this first Aspire. Actually this is required, that Aspire Azure storage, which is provide this extension. So let me just install that, and yeah, let me install this one, whatever latest one, apply that, accept. And same for required for queue, so look for that queue, and yeah, install that, apply that, accept that. Okay, so once you're done, now save it and now go back to your program.cs file. Now see, now it's gone, right? Yeah, now it's gone, ready. So yeah, this two extension actually required, so that you can resolve your dependencies, whatever queue and blobs, right? So that is pretty much good for here, and later on if any issues and all, then come back to here. But yeah, as of now I am good with that. So the function part is done, nothing we have to do over here. Now moving to that implementation, that Blazor application, let that client side application over here. So where is that client side application? So here my client side application, and in here what I'll do first, so let me actually create one function which will be queue message handler, which can handle a message, just queue message. Okay, so let me create a class over here and just make it to here as a queue message handler over here, and make it as a sealed class. so that we can use it the sealed. And then what I'll do, as we have just created, the shared library, right? So that also we can refer in this project, like in our front end project, so that we can use that upload class over here. Okay, and for upload class, actually we just defined over here as a function over there, like whatever function actually that receive as a event functions. And in the event functions, what I'll try to do, I'll just create one on the on message receive function. Okay, and let me create that functions. Yeah, then on message receive function, which can be get that result, that upload result. And if checking, if it is not, then simply just invoke it over here, this message receive function. That's it. Okay, and now second things, actually I have just create one worker class over here, which can be actually continuously checking like the message is available or not, that whatever upload message is sent, right? So that is available or not. So they, based on this, actually they will trigger. So let me create another class as a sealed class, a storage class. Actually we can use this function as a different way also. We can use another Azure function, but yeah, not a, I'll just use this way over here as of now. And yeah, let me create a worker over here, the storage worker function. And yeah, also we'll use that constructor, first primary constructor over here. And in this primary constructor, I'll have construct all this, that queue client and all, right? So let me whatever just imported, just let me use it. And also actually require this whatever package related to package, right? So let me use that package over here. That same package actually I also required over here, like Aspire Azure Queue and all. So let me take it that also in this client side project also. So go to manage and search for this and just install that. And same for that another one, which is not queue, which is blob. Yeah, just install that. Okay, cool. Now go back, and once you go back, just bring back that namespace for that queue client, sorry, and also bring back the namespace for this. Right now we are pretty much good, and we make it as a back worker. So for worker, actually we have to use that background service, so that also we can use it as a background service. Okay, so I'm using as a background service over here, and then simply can use this way. Cool. So this is just I'm injecting that image blob client and container, right, as a image and thumbnails, right? And then we can create a start a sync function over here like this way. And this as a start as a function, simply I can just ensure like, okay, whatever container, if it is not exist, just created the container, that's it. Okay, so this is the initial level, right? And then once you're done, now we will use as execution that function, that worker, so that that can be checked, okay, that message is received or not. Okay, so this is that executing function, which can will infinite loop over here, and which will checking, okay, that message, right? So message is received. If it is received as value is null, so we'll throw the exception. And after that, if it is not, that means we have that message. Then again also another check-in, if it is also is success is false, so we have throw the exception. If it is not, then simply we can just on message receiving, like message is receiving, and once your message receiving, we are trying to delete as well. So this actually we can handle as a inbuilt Azure function also, but now we will do this way. Okay, so now our storage worker function also got created in our client. That is fine. Now one more thing, actually we have to record is that image URL class, and also it's make it sealed class. Okay, that is fine. And then we have to require another one, which is class, make it that image URL, so that whatever image URL, actually it's make it a static class because we have to use as statics. And here whatever that prefix images and all, so we have to make it over here as a path prefix would be a image, and the route pattern would be like that. Okay. And yeah, I have to require few methods over here, so that based on this actually we can get the get message, thumbnails, and whatever actually that thumbnails and message, we have to get their proper path, right? So like for example, get message, whatever prefix along with that route pattern, right? So we have to just get this method. And then also if you want to thumbnails, so thumbnails like this way, whatever get message like that, get images URL along with this query string was the thumbnails. And then last one is create name of that pattern. So like this way you can just create as a pattern. This is as a small functions. Okay. And now we are good to use those things over here in our project. So now we have to integrate in our upload function. So upload function, we have that home component, right, which have nothing. So in here what I'll do, I can just modify our logic over here so that I can upload our function. So for that actually I have to just create the backend class, CS class. I can just do it inside this class, but yeah, there's a little complex. So what I'll do, I can just simply call this guy, right click even. Okay, let me create that CS class over here, and the name would be similar like dot, yeah, home.razor.cs class. Okay, so let me just create that. And so once you create, now see it is a child of that component, right? And in this component what I can do, we can simply change it to that home, and also we have to make it as a sealed and partial class. Okay, and that cool. Okay, now also we'll take it as a constructor over here, primary constructor. And this primary constructor again we have to inject all that queue client, right? So as like we have to done in previously, right? So whatever that blob container, I just injected over here, and similar container blob and blob queue, and this is that message queue handler over here. And inside that again we have to check one thing, like if that file size if more than 500 kilobytes, so I'll just prompt as a okay, that should not be a more than 500 kilobyte. Okay, and also we have to just create another image view model which can has that image and URL. So yeah, that also we can use it inside that class. Okay, in here I can just create it over here, and yeah, I can just prepare over there that. So let me create a image file, a image model over there, right? And then also we have to record few properties, for example this. Okay, so yeah, we required dialogues open, dialogues message, and file key, right? Whatever file key actually we have to prepare over here, right? And be using this ideally you can use whatever that logic, but yeah, I'm using that new function create version 7, which can determine and get that according to 9562 RPC rules. Okay, and here we have to our lifecycle hook method. So first lifecycle hook method would be your on initialize over here. So in on initialize method over here, so in on initialize method we simply get that load blobs, right? So where is the load blobs? So load blobs simply calling in this method, which can get this thumbnails container, right? So whatever thumbnails container, get that all the thumbnails and get the test and thumbnails over here, right? Okay, I think we don't require, we just debugging perspective, like whatever thumbnails name and all, so we don't require this. Simply whatever the thumbnails item, we just add in this image, whatever that image we have just created as a model, right? And that image will bind in our UI, in our HTML, right? So that's why we just simply bind it over here as a, thumbnails and image both. So that we have to call, and also we have to call this on message receiver, right? So where I can just call it, so this on message receiver, actually we have to create a one event, right? So let me just create a one event over here for that. So this is that event. Yeah, so simply on message receiver, whatever that upload result, we just simply invoke that load message, so that once I get, so all automatically we invoke this method, load async method, right? So like this way, we have to do that. And yeah, we have to record another function, which is once I upload an image or any upload any files, so this will be triggered, like this on file exchange will be triggered, and based on this file we'll just open a dialog box if it is not meet that requirement, right? So based on the size, actually we just open this dialog box, and rest of this, if it is meet the expectation, so simply we just upload that function file in this blob, right? Which is a pretty much simple. And let me just create this open and close function. So we can just use this function as a private declaration. So whatever this open dialog, so we have to set this property as a true, or we can set as a false. That's it. Okay, so now we are good to go to implement our HTML. Now these are that functions we need for here to bind our HTML, right? So this is initialize, load, and that on change event, right? So now go to your HTML, and in here simply I have to just prepare HTML over there. So I have already that, so I don't want to waste time, so simply I can just replace it over here. And yeah, it's just first you have to use that interactive server mode, and then this is that in a row on change once you just upload your file. So this is the upload file, and once you get that file, upload file, so you will get read that file and just bind it over here. That's it. And this is the logic for open close your pop-up if any error and all, right? Or that file if it is not match. Okay, so yeah, I think this is pretty much good for here. And one more thing, actually we have to resolve the dependency as we have injected in our component, right? So we have to resolve the dependency in the program.cs file. So similar dependency which we have done in there, right? So that we have to use over here, like that queue and blob client and Azure queue client, right? And yeah, additionally we have to resolve that our queue message handler on a store worker. So that also we have to do that as a singleton, and host services, this is a host service because this is a background service, right? And yeah, one more thing actually we have to do as a queue clients, queue service client and blob service client, we have to initialize over there before that build. Okay, so before that build over here, or I think we can define it also here, not a big issue. So yeah, I think see, just service add service client and whatever your queue client, right? So this is a queue client, and we have to get that our thumbnails over here, and we have to register. Similar for blob client, and yeah, it is getting from image, and this is thumbnails. That's it. Okay, so now also resolve the dependencies. Everything is fine, I guess. Yeah, so now final touch for this to use in our Aspire project. Okay, so go to that Aspire project. In here we have to just configure our functions over here. So first of all, actually we have to just build Azure function. Actually we have to record in a few NuGet package also over here, right? So for example, for this like Azure container app environment, right? So this app environment, basically we required Aspire hosting Azure app container. Okay, so that whatever container I'm just using, right, so they can, you know, they can manage over here. So for that, let me go to here, go to that here, just look for that package. So the package would be Aspire hosting container. So look for that, so that automatically can create a container. Don't worry, I'll show you what that means. So let me install that first. Except, yeah, now our container is over here. Also similar, these two packages is required for Azure, Aspire hosting Azure, right? And just install that. And other one also we required for that queue. Okay, so I think these three packages required. Accepted. Now save it. Not this kind of save, just save from here. Okay, now go back to program.cs file, not this one, episode. Okay, so here now see, problem has been resolved, like the dependencies finish. And now what I can do, I have to just prepare our storage like blob and queue, right? So first I'll just prepare our queue, sorry, storage. So this is my storage, where I can just use add storage and run emulator, right? As a emulator is will emulate as a locally, and then just equal into, okay, this is storage. And then also make sure you have to false like blob public access, so you don't want to access as a public, so just define as a false. Okay, so this is, you have to just register over here, add Azure storage. And once you add Azure storage, just simply I can get that blob and queue now based on this storage. Now see, I'm just created this storage, and this created storage I'll just get that blobs and queue, but add blob and queue, right? That is simple. And then I think we can move it this function on the top so that I can use it over here. Okay, so this is my orchestration of that Azure function, right? And in here that function app is fine, but we have to use that reference, right? So whatever reference actually record this Azure function. So reference actually that queue and blob, that part of that reference, because that is a dependent, right? So that queue as a reference, as a dependent, and blog also is dependent. And also wait for that storage until now complete, you know, and create that storage as a container. So we have to wait for the Azure function. Okay, and then one more thing actually we have to do over here, we have to, you know, with the role assignment. Okay, so we have to do one role assignment, like see, this is the role assignment over there, which can that is storage account contribution and storage block data, right, which is required that Azure function to host. Okay, and also required to send message for this, you know, storage in role of storage data contributor, right? And one last thing actually we have to use for with storage, with host storage. Okay, so another packages, another extension. Okay, so this is actually the resolve the dependency of this Azure function container queue and storage, so that we have to do in this here. Okay, now we are good, right? And I hope now should work. If it is any error and all, we'll fix it. Okay, so let me build it first. Okay, there is a one issue in here, might be I missed that. Okay, I missed that in a one curly braces. Okay, so that's cool. Now build it again. Okay, now it's perfect. Now run it and make sure you Docker installed. Okay, and also Docker is running. So now my Docker is running, because that container actually, whatever extension package we are using, they are using a container. Okay, now see, yeah, now our storage is running perfectly, there is no issue, and service is also fine, that is fine, but it is little unhealthy. But yeah, let me take us some time, might be it's take a moment to fix, but yeah, it is running, but it is little unhealthy, that is fine. So yeah, I think let me try to open that. So open a browser over here, and yeah, it is debugging. Point why is debugging? Okay, not debugging. Yeah, there's a one issue. See, so we can see we are getting one error, right? So see, what is saying? What it says actually. So connection string as a queue is a not defined and all, right? So why? Because see, this is my it is complaining actually my web application, like Blazor application, where I'm just trying to host our, where I registered our, queue client, right? So that queue client they are expecting as a connection string and all, right? So but connection is not available just because, see, that is a good point actually to understand the Aspire concept. So I'm using that, this web applications, like, front end application, Blazor application, and this Blazor application I orchestrate over here in our Aspire, and as like our function I just whatever the dependence, right? So I just add it over here, right? So similar, I have to whatever the dependence service like a client and blob, right? Blob or queue, so that also we have to referred over here in our web application. So where is my web application? Yeah, this is my front end application, right? So in this front application, as like previously, it is dependent app services, but now it's also dependent that blob and client, right? And also Azure function, so that we have to add it over here. Like for example, let me show you with reference, right? So with reference, first with reference would be first is a queue, yeah, that queue. Then second one would be replace this and that queue and blob, right? So we have to just add the blobs, and also until your function will not start, so you have to wait. So wait for your functions, right? So what is the function name? I think we have to check what is the function name. Where is my function? So that function would be, and that's it, right? So just whatever that function until is once is stored, so I'll just get that, and once I get, I'll just refine over here, means that that front end will be start once you're done, right? And yeah, I think that pretty much good, even that we can do in the last, so that, yeah, that pretty much good. Okay, so now run it and see in action. Okay, now storage, now see storage is running perfectly, there is no issue. Even, yeah, front end is still, yeah, unhealthy, now it's healthy, right? So yeah, I think that all that application is perfectly working fine. So now let me test it to that, and for tested, what I'll do, I'll just open Azure Lite, right? So yeah, that Azurite, I think it is a local storage to track, right? And in here, if you just refresh and expand, now see, this is that your container actually running, and in this container, if you just refresh and just expand, now this is your uh, thumbnails, and this is your here, right? If you see, nothing is there, and even nothing is there, like that image and thumbnails is nothing is over there, even queue also is a nothing. Okay, so what I'll do now, we will upload any file, and then we'll try to it's convert it or not. Okay, and yeah, meanwhile also we can check some functions logs and all. So go to here, if I go to the console, now see your function got ready over here, and similar other things also you can check it for queues. Yeah, nothing is there. Storage, now see storage continuously running for this year. And what else, blobs, queue, yeah, I think that pretty much good, right? So let me call it to function, yeah. So we'll close I2 in this function, like what happen if I just upload. So let me open that browser. In here, open my app. So this is my app, open in without STT. And here let me upload a photo, for example this one, and I just upload it. And let me check that function. See, the function got triggered, right? And this function received that message. See, this message, they can get it over here, and they process to complete and also send that message. And once you send the message, you are able to see that here you will get that thumbnails over here, right? Similar, you can just use a big size, so definitely it will just prompt you, okay, that exceed limit, right? So you are not able to do that. So if I just take it, okay, before that I'll show you that image and all, what how actually stored. So once you refresh and check this, see that the original file is stored over here, right? Is this image section, and you will see this is that actual size 425, right? And once you go to the thumbnails, so this is thumbnails got created using the function. And also if you see over here, the thumbnail size would be very less, like 2 3, right? And also if you see the file size, like dimension also would be changed, but as of now I think you have to do download it. Okay, so yeah, like this way. Like, let me just upload another one, for example this one. So let me upload this one, and once you upload it, it automatically appearing over here once your function will complete it. Now see, this is an image gallery which will convert your image to thumbnails, okay, using that Azure function in aspire.net. So this is how easy, right? So yeah, I think you can use it, you can try like this way easily. Even, yeah, even that logs and all also will be helpful you, where there's a many logs over here, the structure logs and all. See, function continuously running and getting that response and all. And also is the trace log over there. So whatever trace is doing now, see, always they're trying to, function is calling, blob trigger action function calling eventually, right? So yeah, I think that pretty much good for this session. Even if you see the graph now, see, this is a pretty much graph like how your complete application is working over here. And yeah, in upcoming session definitely we'll add more, like other client tab we will add it over here. So yeah, let me open it. This one is an VS Code. So for that open VS Code, I can just directly go to that particular directory, and simple I can use that code dot, and it will be open in our new instance of that VS Code. Okay, so yeah, so for that just as like we have all that, all that front end, so I'll just add another front end which is called Vue, right? So for that, how you can just create a new Vue applications over here. So for that, actually we have that simple command which also provide in official website of your here, like in Vue official document. So I'll just using in this over here, so which is this npm create Vue at the rate latest one, so that whatever Vue framework I'll just want to use, so it will take as the latest one. And also before that also you have to use that npm, because you have to install node.js as well. So yeah, you can go through my first videos of this Aspire project, so you will get an idea like what are the requirement. Okay, and simply I can just hit enter, and also make sure you have to that root directory. So this is my root directory, so that it will create a new project along with over here, right? And once you hit enter, now it is asking to me over here as a project name, right? What project you want. So I want to name it project, like so I just make it a Vue front end, right? And that hit enter. And also they will provide what kind of type script you want to use, like JavaScript and TypeScript and all. So I want to use that TypeScript. So make sure, see, as of now you can just up and down, you will see that blue tick over here, but it is unchecked, it is a checkbox. So if you want to check, so simply press space key on your keyboard. So once you space key, you are able to see it is green, that means it is check, and hit enter. And then also just use that oxlint so use that. That is also that I skip all that example. So if you want to without sample project, so you can just skip that, or if you want to yes, so it will be skip, and if you know, so it will take a sample project. So I'll take a sample project, so that's why I create a new. And yeah, finally it's got created your project along with this command. So it is just make sure like your project got created, so you can just make sure your project is properly created or not, or it is working or not. So for that you have to just go to this you know uh, this directory, because this is your root directory of this project. So you have to go to this project directory, and once you go to this directory, so you just simply use that npm install. And yeah, once you install that whatever the dependency, because this project have a lot of dependencies, right? So that they have to install that over here. So that is actually flexibility provide the .NET Aspire. You don't need to take in care any dependencies and all. They everything will taken care in .NET Aspire. Okay, now it's completed, right? Whatever that in a package is done. And then what I'll do, I'll just simply use this and start your application and simply hit enter. And want to hit enter, now see it is just starting for this. So I can just simply use this and just open it over here and see, make sure okay it's working fine or not. So let me close everything before that. Yeah, so it's just a simple template of a Vue which has that default sample code and all, that is fine. But yeah, we will integrate our API, and also we will integrate this .NET front sorry the Vue front-end application in .NET Aspire. So yeah, let me close this. And also we want to skip that and also go back to the root directory of this project, and also just run my application like this complete application, so that whatever we have in our this repository we can show you. So for that actually you can just go to that particular app host project, you can run it, or there is another way we can use that CLI of Aspire, and you can run it like this way. Okay, now finally your dashboard got created. You can just simply click on that, and this is your dashboard which will maintain all that applications over here. So yeah, currently we have that storage which will manage the blob and queue, and also front end for React app services, Angular, and this is the DB also, right? That means everything is perfectly working fine. And also we can just ensure that React app, yeah, that React app also is working. Let me React. Yeah, so it is working fine. Similar if I check that Angular one, so where is my Angular? Yeah, this is my Angular. Open this Angular. Also yeah, see whatever data is I saved it from there, I'm getting over here, and simply I can just use Angular and add that. Yeah, Angular also there. If I just refresh, yeah, that cools. Okay, so yeah, what I need to do, yeah, that function is not started just because of might be it is dependent on Docker, so that's why. That is fine. So yeah, let me just open Docker as well, so that everything should work as expected. Cool, now your Docker desktop is open, so definitely it will be resolved that all that dependency. Now see, everything just starting and as expected. Okay, cool. Now so what I need to do next, so we will just integrate our Vue application in this .NET Aspire over here. As of now I am not able to see anything just because I have not added anything. Okay, so for that let me close that and go back to your applications, and here you have to go that at Aspire project, which is this, and go to that Aspire host. Okay, and in this Aspire host, as like we have to add all other project directory in this app host. So similar I have to add that one also, like for example here, right? So previously we add that Angular one, so now we have to add for that one, right? For that Vue. So for that simply welder dot, okay, let me zoom in for you so that you can able to see. Yeah, add, or yeah, this is fine, they are just providing a uh, a reference, right, as a copilot. So I'm kind of using this, but what I'll do, I'll just change it the name so that I can able to see. So name would be not in React, it should be Vue applications, and my directory name is, for example, yeah, Vue frontend, right? So I'll just make it same name, and yeah, once you're done, now go back to next. So with reference, yeah, so also I need to with reference for API service, and also we have to wait until that API service is not started, and similar we have to use that with endpoint, right? So that is also fine. And then yeah, I have to use another one which can npm, yeah, with npm package installations. So yeah, that's cool. Like these are things actually we have to require over here. So these are actually that configuration you have to do in our app.host project for that your Vue application simply. And this is also, I already installed that extension, so you can refer that extension as well. So that's cool. And yeah, that is sufficient for here. And one more thing actually with endpoint, yeah, one more extension actually we required, which is with the external external HTTP endpoint. So we can use that with the external HTTP endpoints. Yes, now this one. So yeah, also you can just utilize this and other options also, extension method for publish Docker file as well. But yeah, as of now I'll not use it, but that is optional, you can take it. So that's cool, and that is saved, and that is done for this host project. And now moving to your front end application, because as of now, see, as you configured over here, if you run now, see, let me show you what happen if you run now, just configured over here. And if you run, for example, so run this application, see, as of now you are able to see my view is appearing over here, right? But which have some issues over here. See, it is just failed. Why it's failing, you can see as a log as well. So that is very helpful. Now see, waiting, but that is start actually is missing, right? Because as of now currently using deb, start from your application from deb, so that's why it is occurring issues. So what is the fix for that? If you go to that your project, that Vue front end project, go to that package.json. In this package.json there need to some configuration over here. For example, see, as of now I'm using deb, right? So that's why it's happening. So for that, if you want to start as a over there, so you can just use as a start script, so that also can be start. So if you just add it over here, if you go back, I think I have to restart our application because this is a configuration file, right? So let me just stop that and run it again. Okay, now it's running, and just let me open it again. And this time you are able to see it is running, right? That means run command is successfully running, and you are also able to see your uh, listening point, right? And also if you see this log, console log, now it is just complete and also started, and it is listening on this endpoint. So if you directly run this, so you are able to see your sorry, not a post, like you have to just run complete over here. If you want to separately run, so you can just run it, but if we want to run from itself of this port, right, which is handling .NET Aspire. So if you run this now, see, it is not runnable, right? Just because, see, we have to add one more configuration on this Vue project, so that they can add a server as well. Okay, so for that what I can do, I can go back, and here, so now see, is a byte configuration, and this byte configuration only use that Vue dev tools, right? So instead of that Vue dev tools, we have to allow the servers. Okay, so that whatever that calls is coming over here over that APIs, so I can just handle as a proxy. So that proxy actually I need to configure over here. So simply I can use over here as a proxy. Where is that? Yeah, after this section I can add this. Yeah, this server configuration you have to use it. So server, then host is true, then port is this, right? It will take a environment port, otherwise it will take as a default port. And also I'll just use the proxy, so that whatever proxy I'll just replace for API 2, replace that API 1, right? And ensure, so whatever your app service is, like suppose service, so you can just change it as like, so as of now I'm just using that app services over here. Where is my app service? So yeah, let me open dashboard so that you can just clearly able to see. So where is my app services? Yeah, see, this is our app services, right? So make sure proper whatever name you have to use, that proper name over here, like services.app services, then http 0 and http 1. That is important actually. So that is done. So once you're done, now I am able to run this, I guess. So let me run it and see. Actually I'm explaining one by one. That means might be you have you receive this problem while you integrate, so that's why I just properly integrate one by one and show it. Okay, what could be a cause, or what could be the reason for that integration, and what is the solution for that. Okay, so now if I just moving to this and if I run this, now see, I'm able to run completely using that Aspire listening point, right, directly. And also if I see this console log, now see, this time also it is running that localhost just change over here, right? Like previously it was only just default one, but now it's taking that correct one only, right? So these are things actually you have to ensure you are proper configured, so then you are good to go to start your consuming your API in this project. Okay, so what I can do now I just simply integrate our API service which have to-do list, right? So that to-do list as like we consuming in other place in our Angular or React. So same things I can do over here. So for that I can go to that service src folder, go to that component, and which have that default component over here. So I'll just change it to that I'll just create a new component like to-do list and all, something like that. So I'll just create a new file over here. Name would be as a to-do list.vue extension. And yeah, over here let me start with the script language over here, right? And just inside that script, what I can do, I'll just required one import package, view package. So let me import that package, so which have that reference and on mount, which is actually that lifecycle hook. And over here I have to just create one model I can use over here, but I can use this separately. And then I have to export this default I export this component. Okay, and let me just export that. And in this export we have to create this name as a component name. Okay, so I just defined my name, my component name over here, and then I have to create a setup. So for setup, in this setup actually we uh, have to just create a setup function over here. So see, I have the setup function which have that I am using the base URI, right? Base URI is our API, like API and to-do list. To-do is my API endpoint, and just create a few variables over here. And just first function I just create for load, which will be get that our API, that to-do list API, and just store it over this to-do values over here. That's it, right? So just just again just getting that API and storage in our those variables, right? Just to do variables and other variables, right? And also simply if I want to add a new to-do list, so I just call it this add endpoint of add one, and I'll also get that response. And then also I just again if it is okay, so I'll just load that list. And similar I want to delete as well, so using the delete endpoint. And then also I'll just call move up and down. So this is move and this is up and down, so this is two API Also we have to call this, and also this is a toggle function which will handle that it is complete or not your list. And this is just your lifecycle hook method which will be initialize load your one. Okay, and yeah, I think this is that one extra parenthesis is required over here. Yeah, so like this way actually you can just complete your function to get all that endpoints and all, right, using this export default. And then after script actually we have to create our template so that I can bind our templates over here, means our HTML part. So let me say we get it from here because I don't want to write that template over here. So it just simply this is just add a to-do list, right, and also it's load, it is a refresh button, so load the edit list, and this is just loading indicator, and they are here actually we binding your our to-do list, and this is just a few button over here, and that's it. Okay, and if I run this application, I think that's go back to here. If I just refresh and if I just run this, I think, yeah, okay, so there is a one issue. See, I just integrate this component, but I am not using anywhere in this main component, right? So go to your main component. See, this is the main component of app.view component, which is just using this component, that the hello world. Okay, so same things I can just comment it this component over here and using that our my new component which I just added. Okay, so which is a to-do list. So just using, and also just import your namespace. So import that namespace over here as like this, right? So import, yeah, so this is fine. Save it, and now my component is over there, and now I am good to go to refresh to this. Yeah, see, automatically got refresh, but as like we don't have a no look feel better this style, so don't worry, we'll make it better over here as like see the demo. But I want to check first, like how actually working that connectivity this API service, so that we can ensure all this functionality is working. So first let me add a new item. So let me add a new item. Yeah, item is over there, add it. And also same item I can check it for other front end application, like for example Angular or new. Yeah, so that means this new item is got created. Also we can ensure that is calling properly. So if I see app services, and in the app services if I see console log, see, once whenever I just call anything, so let me remove that, I'll show you. Like see, this is a app services call. If I just go to here, if I add another one, for example, instead of Vue I just use Aspire. Okay, and if I just add, now if I go back, see, so your add call is happening, and proper database whatever happen is the database, like, so everything is happening also over here. So for example, see, this insert statement is happening for this new data, right, and also retrieving the data over there, right. And yeah, same calls also, if you want, you can see as a structure log, trace log. So if you go back to your app services, you're able to see those are information, like this is get, this is post, and in this post also you can see that whatever that post call happen over here. So all that information you can able to see over there and details, right. So yeah, that's pretty much good over here. So I think that is fine in functionality perspective. Also if I check, yeah, this is done, it is pending. Also if I just try to move down, yeah, up and down also is working. If I want to delete, yeah, delete also is working fine. So now let me modify this styles. So for modifying styles, I already handy that style. So go back to this list, this component, and go down here. I can just simply use as a list over here. So I am using that style, save it. If you see, there's a couple of styles I just using that particular to do, add, and all that buttons and all. If you go back and see what look like, cool. Now see, it is much better, right, as respect on the previous one. So if I just add view, yeah, cool. Even if I just add refresh over here other application, yeah, I'm able to see. And if I add something else over for React, add this, and if I go back in about over here, now see the data is not there, but if I want to refresh, so now the new data is appearing over here, right? And the React one is the last one. So if I just if I just move it this up one, so yeah, it is just moving to this. And also if I want to take it this list as a from first, so let me move it one more time. Yeah, it is taking first one also, right? So yeah, that means that proper functionality is working as expected, as like, consuming our uh, orchestration of that our Vue application in .NET Aspire, and also it is just consuming APIs properly, and all that functionality is working as expected. Like this way actually you can just manage your Aspire like all kind of applications, right? And also if you see there's a nice graph also, like how actually working your Vue application is dependent, which it is dependent API service, and also its Vue also is dependent your no endpoints, but yeah, installation of that npm, right? And this API service also is dependent, where like this API service actually dependent that database and all, right? So there's everything actually look clear in this graph as well. And yeah, I think this is pretty much good. But yeah, in upcoming session we will try more and more, and other things also we will try to integrate in .NET Aspire. So close that, go to that solution and right click on the solution, and yeah, right click on that and add new project. In this new project I'll just looking for MVC app, so let me try to MVC. And once you select this, now see you're able to see this template. So I'll just refer for C#. If you want to other language you can refer that, but I'll just use for C#. Next, and just make it name according to your preference. So I'll just use uh, MVC web application. Yeah, I think that pretty much good, or just make it short, MVC web app. Next, and yeah, whatever your supported SDK, you can just use it. So I'll just refer for framework.NET 9. So that pretty much good. And also yeah, there's a way actually, see, you can directly orchestrate your MVC app in .NET Aspire directly in using this checkbox. If you don't, so you can just uncheck, but yeah, I'll just refer using this, so that you don't need to take in care anything. So just simply create that. So now this new project got created in this solution over here, this MVC app. And yeah, once you just select this option you will select, so you will able to see, if you go to this section in host project, go to that app host. If you scroll down, see this new project got added in your host file, right? And yeah, that also you can, once you run, you're able to see this application actually orchestrate in your Aspire project. Okay, and if you don't check that option, so simply you can just right click on that, add this. Yeah, there is an option, I think, orchestrate. Yeah, this one, see, .NET Aspire orchestration support. So you can simply select, so automatically got created this reference in your app host project. And yeah, then you're good to go. So simply let me check one more time to run and see it is properly referenced, or it is working as a default template or not. So yeah, it's getting started. If you scroll down, see this is your MVC web app, right? And it's also running state, so I can simply run this over here. Yeah, that means this project perfectly working fine. Now what we will do, we will integrate this API service. Actually we will consume this API service in our MVC app, and also we will integrate that to do feature, right? So that user can add a new to-do list, to-do item, and up and down, and also delete, those all the feature which we have in our uh, in our app services. So if we can check, if we have a swagger over here, now see there's a no swagger. So what I'll do first, I will add that swagger over here so that we can see all that endpoints. So for this actually there is a quick implementation. So I can just simply use one of that package for swagger. So go to here, go to your app service project, and just simply add this. This is app service. Yeah, this is app service. You can just simply stop that, and you can just add, yeah, swagger AI. So this is that package name. You can just refer. So swagger, swag block and ASP.NET Core swagger UI package, and whatever latest version you can refer it. So once you're done, now you can go to your project and go to that program.cs file, go to here, this environment section. Now see, it is already integrate open API, but this open API only just giving that JSON path, JSON file. So that JSON file actually we have to show in the swagger. So just a one line code actually we have to do over here, because we be using that map of that swagger extension. So that's why we add that that package. So once you add this package, now see this extension you will able to see, and you can just give it your JSON file path like open API v1 and JSON, and you can just refer your JSON. That's it. Okay, so once you're done, now you can just run it, so you are able to see all that endpoint, whatever endpoint it have in your here. Okay, so this is just if you already have, so you can just ignore, but yeah, that's fine. Now moving to integrate this API app service in our MVC app. Okay, so for that, as what we need to do, we have to go to that MVC app and go to program.cs file, and in this program.cs file, before that build, we have to add that service, right? So for that service actually we have to create one client, so that we can resolve the dependency using that service using that client. Okay, so for client actually I need to create one of that client, as like whatever client you want you can just create it, but yeah, I'll just refer for to do client. So right click on that, and I'll just simply create a class, just add that. Okay, so this is to do client, and I'll just inject primary constructor of HTTP client. Okay, and that's it. And then whatever our endpoints actually we have to expose over here, which is getting from what app service, and we can utilize over here, that we can use in our MVC service. So first actually we have to just create one get endpoint. So this is that my get endpoint, and also we have to create this to-do list. But yeah, simply you can just see nothing, just create a endpoint over here, and it is just HTTP client and get from the JSON and calling your API name, which is coming from this like API name, just simply that API name, not a base folder and all, right? Base URL that will be handled in our dependency injection, but you can just simply that API name only, right? And that's it. It will just return your complete to-do list from that API. So let me just first create this to-do DTO inside this model folder. So let me create this, and what are that fields over here? Simply ID, name, and this. Okay, so yeah, I think this is fine. Now go back to here, simply refer that reference over here, namespace, that then we are good to go. Okay, it's similar, we have to just expose other all endpoints. So let me just create another one, which is get to do by the item, right, ID, and then another one, simply I can just add a new to do list, new to do item over here, and another one we can just create for update that particular item if I want to update, so I can just update it. And then if I want to delete, so also I can just delete over there. And then there is another feature actually which have swapping, right? So if I want to swapping, so I can just swap over here. So now see this the swiping position, like which swiping actually want, like id 1 to 2, so they will swap actually 1 to 2 as well. And there's also we want to up and down feature, that to do list, like suppose I want to which is the bottom, so I want to up, and which is up we want to bottom, right? So that functionality also we can integrate using this API. So make it is a move up, right? And this is move down. So this how actually you can just create your API client in your MVC app, and then go to that program.cs file. Here we can just resolve the dependency along with your APIs, right? So let me just do that. So for that actually what I can do, simply as you can just refer my Blazor application, right? So simply I can just use that builder dot services dot, here I can just use add http client, right? And in this http client, whatever your client, right? So which client you just created, I just create this client, save it, and come back and simply add it over here. And then you can just use a lambda expression, like for example client, and here you can just simply set your base URL. So where is we are coming your base URL? Base URL coming from, if you go to app.host project, and here see in this app.host project, where is your API service? So my API service is this, right? So this is my API service, and this is API service is refer, the name is app services, right? So that we have to refer for as a base address. And also one more thing, actually we have to reference, actually we, if we are trying to use that API service in our client app, so definitely you have to refer. So how we can refer it over here? So go to your particular web application, and here use that with reference, use dot with the reference, so that you can just refer which service you want to refer. So I want to this app service referred, and also until load your or just wait, actually not the speed. So until your app service is not up and round, so you have to wait, this client app, or this web application should be wait to expose, or run this application. So that's it. Okay, so this setting actually you have to record over here. So once you're done, now go back to your MVC app program.cs file. Here just refer to client.base address, and this client.base address new, just use the settings, like for if I want to use both, like https plus plus http, both endpoint, right? Both that endpoint. And what would be the base URL? Base URL would be your app service name. So what is that, your app service name? Your app service name is this, right? If you go to app host, you can able to see this is your app service name. So whatever name you are refer over here, same thing you just referred over here. That's it. Okay, so I think that pretty much good. Now we have resolved that our http client for this to do client, because see, if you go to here, so we have just trying to use http client, and how first if you are injecting something in your class, so definitely use a resolve. So here that resolve the dependency along with your service. So once you're done, now your service can get the data, all the data which is coming from that API, and now this client I can integrate in my view, right? Like whatever that UI. So for that actually I need to create a controller. So go to this controller, so which have already as a home controller, but I'll just create a new controller. So go to that controller and MVC controller empty, create this and just make it for to do, like whatever name you want, but as for that demonstration perspective I can use this. Okay, so now see, this is the to do client, sorry, to do controller. And in here what we will do, simply I'll just inject that to do client over here. So let me just create a constructor over here, and in this constructor I'll just index that to do client we just created, right? And this to do client actually we have just injected over here, and also need to assign as a private field so that I can utilize in this complete controller. Okay, and once you're done, now we have to get all that, all that endpoints over here and to bind our view and other operation. So first operation would be like this, bind this all the data, right? So for that, how we can get, simply I can just call this endpoint to get this, right, to get a to-do list, and also I just make it await a sync over here, and whatever data we are getting we just simply bind this view. Okay, so this is at actually MVC concept model view bind model view controller. So get the data from that model and get over here and bind in the view, right? So like this way actually we will implement other as well. Like for example, if I want get to-do list, so here I can just simply use this, right? I can just use this get to do's, and whatever that get to do's I can get as a JSON response. And also if I want to post, so I can just post the data. Like I want to add that form, actually if I want to post the data to create a new to-do list, so I can simply use that add http post and just use a model, same model, right, and pass all that links, and it will just call that API, it will create and return back that created result as well. Same things I can just create for another action, which is update. So let me create that action endpoint for update. So yeah, similar way also if I want to update, so take the data, call that API and done. And also I want to delete, if I want to delete, so I have to just create a delete action. So I can use this as a post, or yeah, I think we can get a post, right? So yeah, I think that is pretty much good. So you can just action as a post. And yeah, another one is if I want to move up, so I can create this action move up. So based on this particular ID I want to move up, right? And also similar for down, I can just create another action for down. So this is for down, so same item I want to down, so I can just call simple API will handle and then get that response. That's it. And finally I will use as a swap function, swap action actually over here, so which can, you can just pass multiple ID 1 and 2, they will just swap internally 1 and 2. So yeah, this is pretty much good, right? So once you're done all this controller, right, so we have to create this particular view, right, like this index.view. so for that actually there is a actually create an add view, right? So simply you can just create add view over here, and this is a razor view, or you can just use CSTML, but yeah, whatever things actually it will just create it. And yeah, you can just use over here razor and then make it that name, whatever name. So I'll just use that index.html, add that. So once you add that, now see, this is a simple plain view got created. You also can able to see over here, this is make it a to do control name. This is not quite good, right? Because we can just use this is rename it, actually this is not right. So make it just to do name. Might be I missed somewhere, but yeah, simply you can just create inside the view folder to do and that particular index, so that once we call this to do controller, always call this first index, okay, this view. And here we want to implement all that feature, like add item, delete item, swap item, everything. So for that, actually first actually get it that actually over here. Okay, I'll show you that from scratch. So first I'll just use this view data, right, which will can show the title. So that will show the title. And yeah, after that what I'll do, actually I already had that design, and also I don't want to create design. So first what I can do, I have the design, so let me copy the design over here. So see, this is my design, HTML design. So if you require, you can take it from my GitHub link. I'll just mention over here this repository. So this is a container, this is a card. I just take the card, and in here whatever data we are getting, right, so in this model whatever data in, we just simply bind it over here. That's it. And in this here, what we're trying to do, like there's an option, actually there's some icons which we can refer for up and down, and also delete. So this is for delete, this is for down, this is for up, right? And also there's a feature like check and check. So this is that HTML for design this page, this view. And also we have that some style, so that we can make it a little modern look over here. So let me add that over here. So this is that style section. Actually I'm just putting over here, but yeah, we can create a separate file and we can add that style over there, and we can simply reference over here. And also I'll just take it this reference actually to resolve our icon and all. So I just using this reference, but whatever your style you refer, you can just refer it. But this is the style, and this is style actually we are using in our here. And one more thing, actually we have to do this model, right? So we have to refer our model. So we are coming this model, so we are coming model actually our details. So we have to define our model over here. So this is my model, right? So list, getting the list of to-do list, and we are getting the to-do list, and which we can see over here. We are just getting the to-do list over here. We pass this view, and that view actually we refer this model and the binding over here. This is actually MVC concept. So if you knew of that MVC concept, you can refer my very long back videos or sessions, so you can take it over here. But yeah, as of now I'm just simply just following that over here. Okay, so this is done. Like you can just, if you run your application, definitely it will just bind the data, right? But there is a problem actually. So once you bind the data, you need to some action. Okay, so if you using this directly this action over here, so definitely it will just redirect your page. So avoid this redirection and persist on your page, we can use our JavaScript function, so that whatever call actually we can directly call it over here. We are not trying to redirect our page, and we can persist in our data, right? So for that actually what I can do, I can simply create a code script or section coding script over here, and simply I can just close that, just decorate over here. And here I just want to write our script. So there is another again two way, like you can just reference your script over here, or directly you can just create your script over here. So let me just create my script, and let me explain. Actually there is a little big script. So simply I just create a function which have all that button, to-do list and all, because we are trying to manipulate, right? So whatever function, whatever action we will perform, we just manipulate our HTML. So that's why actually I'm just using this. So see, this is that actually get the data, post the data function, which will post the data and get the response. And this is that click function, right? So once I add this click function, so it will call that our API, right? And API, it will call that API, get the data, and we will bind the data. That's it, right? And this append the data. See, this is append item. So this is just appending whatever data we are want to show in our HTML. So we are trying to binding and append over here, right? So there's a yeah, this is also swiping functionality. This is swiping script, and also this is a button, bind button function over here. And this is a important part actually. This is the delete one, and this is for up and up. We want to up, so this is a up function. Simply the call that event and call that API and bind respective the data. That's it, same things, right? And if we want to change anything, so see, this is the change functionality. Once I check and check, so it will just perform that our update features, so it will update also. So finally it is just binding. So this is the text script which will action in this particular HTML, right, which will just handle all that actions. And it is pretty much good for here, I guess. Yeah, and one more thing actually, we will add this route in our here. Where is our layout? So go to this layout, shared layout, go to this layout, and in here let me just copy one of that action. So let me copy this action and here, so that I can add new navigation which is just created for that. So I can just use to do, and here I can just use that index page, whatever index page, and here my to-do list, to-do list, actually to-do list. Yeah, so that is pretty much good to call our controller, right, and the respective index which we want to call. And yeah, I think this is pretty much good. Let me see, if any issue we will fix it, run this application. Yeah, just getting started. And yeah, app service is running. Let me check that app service has that swagger, because we just add a swagger. Yeah, swagger is available, and also I will see this all the 10 points. And if I just try to get this, so see, currently does not have anything, right? And let me, yeah, also my MVC app is running, up and running. If I run this, so home is working, privacy is working. Let me click the to-do list. So see over here, if I just call to do, and it is not calling on the particular controller and the respective view, right? So what is the problem? Let me go to that problem. If you go to our MVC app, if you go to that controller, so if I go to controller, see, one mistake actually I did over here while creating this controller. See, I just add this controller one, right? So if you add anything in this controller one, so that means that by default is MVC is not actually exclude this controller prefix, right? So that is the problem over here. So what I can do, simply right click on that, rename it, and just change to controller to controller. Okay, so this is that actually problem. So if you just leave it, okay, as a controller as a prefix and any controller name, so it will just exclude and it will just determine, okay, this is your controller name. Okay, or there's other way actually, if you want to add this name, and also definitely you have to keep it full name on your route. Okay, because they will understand only this complete route. So save it now, refresh, and yeah, it want to stop and run it. So let me run it again and see in action. Yeah, it's running web front end. Yeah, I think this MVC is running. So if I just click open and to do list, see, now this time is nice, nice style along with this form, nice to do list. So let me try to function like this functionality, is it working or not? So let me add this MVC to do list. Okay, now cool, and even all this, button and all, everything is appearing over here. And if I add something, Blazor, right, and here if I want to up, yeah, it is properly upping. And if I want to delete, I can delete it as well. And if I want to check, now see, if I check, so it is completely marked as completed, right? So that means it is perfectly working fine, there's a no issue. And yeah, this is how actually you can integrate all that application in your um, .NET Aspire, right? And yeah, also let me check other application as well. Let me open it up. Yeah, same thing. See, once you're done, also it's mark is done. And if I see for Angular as well, where is my Angular one? Yeah, this is my Angular one. See, also it is perfectly fine. If I go to MVC, oh sorry, MVC already is there, so I can check for Blazor. Go to to-do list. Yeah, see, it's perfectly working fine. Yeah, so that is good for this session. But yeah, also yeah, before closing this session, what I'll do, I can just stop this and I push these changes so that you can utilize this is here. But yeah, why it's adding so much is okay, no issue. I'll just add I just push it over here in the same repository, right, which is this, so you can refer this repository. And yeah, that's all for this session. Thank you, have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.